Now, let's read again.
And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre.
That is Abraham.
And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favour in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, So do, as thou hast said.
Okay, let's run quickly and skip that to verse number 15. There is something that I want us to look at. Verse 14, and then we go back, then we continue the story.
Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed I will return unto thee, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son.
Continue.
Then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid. And he said, Nay, but thou didst laugh. Okay,
that was God speaking to Sarah.
And the men rose up from thence, and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do?
Look, God was going to destroy Sodom. But there was something that God said to himself. I'm going to Sodom. This is my intention. But I want to consult a man. Didn't find anybody to consult, but consulted Abraham. And says, Shall I hide anything from Abraham, seeing that he will instruct his children? He has already instructed Lot, brought him back, wouldn't listen, went back to Sodom, and God says, there is distraction on the way. What am I going to do? But I want to talk to someone who can give me advice. Isn't that amazing that when God wants to get an advice, he got it from Abraham? Can't you see Abraham is a father? Can't you see God? He became God's friend, not because of his position, but he became God's friend because of his heart. He has the heart of a father. Never ever deny your children. And because of that, you need to understand where God has placed you as a father. Let's continue.
Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. And the Lord said, Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now, and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence, and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near, and said, Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
Now, Abraham said to God, hang on a minute. I know, I've heard what you've said, but shall we have a talk? Abraham had to sit God down and say, friend, I want us to have a talk. That is not your nature. That is not like you to destroy the righteous and the wicked. Why? Because he had in mind that Lot is a righteous person in that land. When you pray, who do you have in mind? When you pray, what do you say to God? He thinks he has reached. I will show him where the power lies. Now, I'm not even talking to men. I'm talking to the destroyer of the earth, God himself. I will teach him a proper lesson. God, if he were to be any man, doesn't love the heart of God and doesn't love God, he would have said, if you go to destroy, at the corner there's a guy called Lot. Let the fire burn him well. If you go, you see that guy, he has a lot of flock. The promise you gave me, he wanted to destroy the promise. So when you go, make sure that when you are destroying, destroy everything concerning him, even the building height, everything. Indeed, Scripture said God is not a man. But Abraham stood in a place of compassion. He stood in a place of intercession. He stood and said that God, let it be far from you that you destroy the righteous with the wicked, because he knew that there is someone called Lot in there that needs deliverance. Yeah. We are talking to fathers. We are talking about fathers. But let me digress a little and talk about wives, mothers. How do you feel? What do you pray about? How is your prayer line when somebody offends you? When your husband offends you, how do you pray? I knew a woman. Anytime you fall into his trap, this is what he does. God could punish you. Well. That must be added. God will punish you well. There's no compassion in the world. We have all become judgmental and trying to vent our pain and our anger when somebody there offends us. But Abraham never did that.